Hello, welcome to a quick presentation on ideas and things you can do to practice your math skills at home. In order to practice, you really just need a set of Uno cards or a set of face cards. We'll start with some ideas for the younger children, even preschool children. You can use Uno cards not just to play Uno, but you can sort with them, and they can do a color match game or a number match game where they're looking and really noticing the symbols that are on the cards. Another fun idea to do with Uno cards that you probably already have sitting around your house somewhere is to use 16 to 20 of those cards to play a matching game. Of course, beforehand you want to sort and make sure that you have pairs of the numbers that you are using, and then play with your children. They have a good time. Even older kids enjoy doing this. The next idea for younger children is to, of course, sort your Uno cards or your face cards in order from 1 to 9 and have the kids put them in order. If they are working with siblings, they could do a race, but start with them all mixed up and then have them put them in sequenced order. The next idea would be for kids that are getting a little older, so maybe kindergarten to second grade could play this game with face cards, but you could also play with Uno cards. Play Go Fish, where you're looking for pairs that make a 10. So the student would say, do you have a 6? That means they have a 4, right? And they're looking to put those together. Just 2 cards putting together to make a 10. So 1 and 9, 2 and 8, 3 and 7, 4 and 6, and then of course 2 5s together. It's actually quite fun to play. Helping kids understand what makes a 10 is a really important part of them understanding the base 10 system and just how numbers work in general. The more you practice when they're young, the more they'll be able to apply when they get older, especially when they start doing things like making tens and making thousands. It's a really great opportunity to build that basic understanding. The next idea can be used for kids that are from 7 to 12 years old. They can do a few things. They can work on math practice this way with multiplication war. So you'll put a card in the middle. So our example here is a 4. That means the student is working on their math facts related to 4. Then you split the deck and you play war. So the first player would put down their card and say, 4 times 8 is 32. They have to say it every time they do it. Saying it helps them remember what the fact is. Otherwise, they would just look at the card and say, the 9 is bigger than 8, so that person won. But what we really want them to do is practice the fact, so they say it. Then the next player says, 4 times 9 is 36. And of course, they say it. The person with the greatest number wins. Now, if they have the greatest number and they just go to take the cards because they won, but they didn't say it, the person who they're playing with gets to keep the card. So that's the catch right there. They can also play it not just with multiplication, but with addition too. So maybe our kids that are working on those addition facts in 2nd and 3rd grade could play this. And then of course, multiplication war is really great for kids in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Another thing that's important here to do while you're playing with your kids is most of the time they do okay with 1s, 2s, and 3s, with 5s, with 9s. So if you have them practice 4, 6, 7s, and 8s, you'll probably get your biggest bang for your buck there. You know, how many even adults still have to stop and think, okay, what's 7 times 8? You know, it's 56, and they have to stop and think about it. So practice those facts that kids really need some extra help with. Another way to play it is to do 2 cards at a time. So it's a little more random. You're not necessarily working on a specific set of math facts, but you could do 2 cards. The queen, of course, is worth a 10. 10 times 3 is 30. The other person has 7 times 4 is 28. Of course, the 30 wins, they get to keep the cards. So that's a variation, but again, not as focused as the other one was. Another fun thing to do would be to do this and then also play with dice too. And then for our older children, when our kids get into 6th grade, they start talking about integers. Those are positive and negative numbers. A good way to help kids understand that idea in general are Maybe using a thermometer and negative temperatures, but also money. Credit card debt is a negative number, right? Our mortgages are negative numbers, and help the kids see that and think about what integers really mean. But in addition to that, you could also play games where you're trying to get to 0, and all the reds are negative and all the blacks are positive. So they could lay down cards and say which is closest to 0, or trying to get exactly to 0, and that would be when they would have, a positive 8 and a negative 8. But that's a fun idea to do, because you could have a positive 7, but the person who's a negative 2 with their cards would actually be closer to 0, and they get to keep the cards. So those are just a few fun ideas that you can play with your students when they're at home. We hope we enjoy them, and if you have questions, go ahead and contact your child's teacher or the district STEM coordinator. Thank you.